China has actually entered the war between India and Pakistan not with armed forces, but with military equipment and weapons. In general, the escalation of the conflict between India and Pakistan may give the world its first real opportunity to see how advanced Chinese military technologies compared to proven Western equipment. Shares of Chinese defense companies, such as one particular Chinese firm, are already increasing in value. Have increased by 40% this week after Pakistan announced that it had used J-10 fighter jets in combat to shoot down Indian military aircraft, including a modernized French one, during an air battle on Wednesday. In this episode, we will discuss the weapons China is providing to Pakistan and the reasons behind it. This is a good opportunity, as cynical as it may sound, a good chance for the West to see in combat conditions just how advanced Chinese weaponry really is. Because China has spent billions and billions on the development of military technologies. And now the conflict between India and Pakistan could become its first serious test. I'm Alexei Pechey. Today is May 9th. Let's review this methodically. So, as you know, recently Pakistan claimed that it shot down several Indian aircraft, but India did not respond to Pakistan's statement and did not acknowledge any aircraft losses. When asked about Chinese aircraft involvement, a Chinese foreign ministry representative said Thursday they are unfamiliar with the situation. Nevertheless, as the main supplier of weapons to Pakistan, China is likely closely monitoring how its weapon systems have performed and may perform in real combat situations. The rising military superpower, China, has not fought major wars for more than 4 decades. But under the leadership of Xi Jinping, China is rushing to modernize its armed forces, investing resources in the development of sophisticated weapons and advanced technologies. China has also extended this modernization campaign to Pakistan, which Beijing has long called its unwavering brother. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, over the past 5 years, China has supplied 81% of the weapons imported by Pakistan. That means we can assume that over the past 10 years, about 80% of the weapons in the Pakistani army are Chinese-made. This export included modern fighter jets, missiles, radars, and air defense systems, which, according to experts, will play a key role in any military conflict between Pakistan and India. Some types of weapons produced in Pakistan were also developed jointly with Chinese companies or created using Chinese technology and expertise. This makes any interaction between India and Pakistan effectively a testing ground for Chinese military exports. Chinese and Pakistani military forces engage in complex joint air, naval, and ground exercises, including combat simulations and crew exchange drills involving Chinese crews on Pakistani equipment and vice versa. This long-standing support for Islamabad from Beijing through equipment, training, and now increasingly through targeting assistance using artificial intelligence has quietly shifted the tactical balance. That is, Pakistan is quite a poor country, but it turns out that China has simply flooded it with weapons. This is no longer just a bilateral clash between India and Pakistan. It's a glimpse of how Chinese defense exports are changing regional deterrence. This shift, which became especially noticeable with the rise in tensions between India and Pakistan after the massacre of tourists in Kashmir, highlights a broader geopolitical realignment in the region, where China has become a serious challenge to American influence. As you know, on the eve, United States Vice President Jay Lewin said that this is not a problem at all. The conflict between India and Pakistan is their war, and we have no interest in getting involved. India and Pakistan have fought over Kashmir 3 times since gaining independence from Great Britain in 1947. At the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union supported India, while the United States and China supported Pakistan. Now, a new era of great power rivalry hangs over the prolonged conflict between the nuclear-armed neighbors of South Asia. Despite its traditional policy of non-alignment, India is drawing closer to the United States as successive American administrations have simply courted the rising South Asian giant. As a strategic counterbalance to China, India has increased its purchase of weapons from America and its allies, including France and Israel, while steadily reducing its dependence on Russian arms. Meanwhile, Pakistan has deepened its ties with China, becoming its all-weather strategic partner and a key participant in Xi Jinping's landmark global infrastructure project, the Belt and Road Initiative. And according to the Stockholm Institute itself, the United States and China supplied about a third of the weapons imported by Pakistan at the end of the 2000s. In recent years, Pakistan has ceased purchasing American weapons and is increasingly relying on Chinese arms to replenish its arsenal. But here it's crucial to highlight one fascinating point. Although China has been an important supplier of weapons to Pakistan since the mid-1960s, its current dominance is largely due to the fact that it filled the vacuum created after the United States of America withdrew more than 10 years ago. The United States accused Pakistan of not doing enough to fight terrorists, including Taliban militants who, according to them, operate from Pakistan or are supplied by Pakistan. This intensified Washington's existing disappointment over Islamabad's nuclear program and the lack of democracy there. Now India is basically accusing Pakistan of the same thing, that they are harboring terrorists on their territory who attack Indian territory. And the United States has finally found India as an alternative partner in this region, and as a result, they have more or less cut Pakistan off from American weapons. On the other hand, arms supplies from China have increased significantly. You could say that China used the opportunity to present itself as Pakistan's only true friend and ally. China expressed regret over India's military strikes on Pakistan and called for calm and restraint. Before the latest escalation, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi expressed support for Pakistan in a phone conversation with his counterpart, calling China Pakistan's unwavering friend. Since Pakistan is mainly armed by China and India purchases more than half of its weapons from the United States and its allies, any conflict between the two neighbors effectively becomes a confrontation between Chinese and Western military technologies. After several weeks of intensified fighting following the killing of 26 people, mostly Indian tourists, by militants in a picturesque mountain area in Indian-controlled Kashmir, on Wednesday morning, India launched missile strikes, targeting, according to its statements, terrorist infrastructure both in Pakistan and in Pakistan-controlled Kashmir. Many analysts believe that the missiles and other munitions were launched by Indian fighter jets of French manufacture and Russian Su-30 fighters. Meanwhile, Pakistan was boasting about a major victory for its air force, claiming that 5 Indian fighter jets, 3 of which were Rafale, were involved. The MiG-29 fighter and the Su-30 fighter were shot down by his J-10C fighters during an hour-long air battle, in which, according to him, 125 aircraft participated at a range of more than 160 kilometers. Well, as experts are saying now, this is currently being described as the most intense aerial combat encounter between two nuclear powers. This encounter became an important milestone in the operational use of advanced systems of Chinese origin. India has not acknowledged any aircraft losses, and Pakistan has yet to provide evidence to support its claims. But a source in the French Ministry of Defense reported that at least one of India's newest and most advanced combat aircraft, the French Rafale fighter, was indeed lost in battle. If this is confirmed, it would mean that the weapon systems available to Pakistan are at least modern or up-to-date compared to what Western Europe, especially France, offers. Despite the lack of official confirmation and solid evidence, Chinese nationalists and military enthusiasts have already taken to social media to celebrate what they consider a triumph of Chinese weapon systems. But that's not all. Shares of the Chinese state-owned company AWIC Jingdu Aircraft, the manufacturer of the Pakistani J-10C fighter jet, closed 17% higher on the Shenzhen Stock Exchange on Wednesday, even before the Pakistani foreign minister stated that these aircraft were used to shoot down Indian planes. The company's shares rose another 20% the next day. And this J-10C is the latest version of the Chinese single-engine multi-role fighter J-10, which entered service with the Chinese Air Force in the early 2000s, featuring improved weapon systems and avionics. J-10C. It is classified as generation 4.5, meaning it's neither 4th nor 5th, that is, it's not quite 4th generation and not quite 5th. It's on the same level, but a step below 5th generation stealth aircraft such as the Chinese J-20 or the American F-35. China delivered the first batch of J-10, the export version, to Pakistan in 2022. And now this is the most advanced fighter in Pakistan's arsenal, along with the JF-17. It's a lightweight fighter of generation 4.5, jointly developed by Pakistan and China. The Pakistan Air Force also has a large fleet of F-16 aircraft of American production. One of them was used to shoot down an Indian fighter of Soviet design during the escalation in 2019. However, the F-16 fighters of the Pakistan Air Force are still stuck in the early 2000s configuration, significantly lagging behind the modernized versions currently offered by the United States. Meanwhile, the Chinese J-10CE and JF-17 aircraft are actually equipped with modern technologies, such as radars with active phased array antennas. Thus, the F-16s still remain an important part of any response operation by the Pakistan Air Force, but they are no longer the central one. In addition, it is noted that if the Chinese J-10s were actually used to shoot down French Rafales, this would be a huge boost in confidence for Chinese weapons systems. This would really surprise people, especially considering that China has not fought a war for more than 4 decades. This could potentially become a huge incentive for the sale of Chinese weapons on the international market. It's powerful advertising for Chinese weapons. And according to the Stockholm Institute, the United States remains the world's largest arms exporter, accounting for 43% of global arms exports in the period from 2020 to 2024. This is more than 4 times the share of France, which ranks second, followed by Russia. China ranks fourth, with almost 2/3 of its arms exports going to one country. 2/3. Which country is that? Pakistan? And if the downing of an Indian aircraft is confirmed, even just one, it will have great significance for the development of China's defense industry. And most likely countries of the Middle East and North Africa, which usually do not have access to the most advanced Western technologies, will show interest in it. China enters the picture as the West typically requires conditions like democracy and certain values. China says they are ready to sell to anyone, just buy from them. And since Russia has withdrawn from the global arms market because of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Chinese have begun actively entering Moscow's traditional markets, such as Algeria, Egypt, Iraq, and Sudan. Now they're attempting to seize that market. And now, experts in Pakistan and China say that the J-10s deployed by the Pakistan Air Force were probably paired with the PL-15. This is the most advanced Chinese air-to-air missile, which reportedly has a range beyond visual line of sight of 200 to 300 kilometers. The known export version has a reduced range of 145 kilometers. Last week, amid rising tensions, the Pakistan Air Force released a 3-minute video showcasing their military aircraft. And in this video, the JF-17 Block 3 was shown, armed with PL-15 missiles, and they were called a powerful strike by the Pakistan Air Force. For China, successfully shooting down a French Rafale aircraft would be the most powerful advertisement, proving the prowess of their military capabilities. This would shock even countries like the United States of America. How strong is their opponent really? Because you have to understand that before this, it was clear that there were Chinese weapons, Chinese aircraft, but they weren't taken seriously. Countries interested in buying fighter jets and China's regional competitors must seriously reconsider this question. How should they respond to this new reality where it turns out there are serious Chinese fighter jets? But some experts, of course, express caution. India's losses, if confirmed, are most likely due to poor tactics and planning by the Indian Air Force rather than the supposed advancements in Chinese weaponry. If reports of India losing several aircraft are confirmed, this will raise serious questions about the readiness of the Indian Air Force, not just about its platforms. Rafale are modern aircraft, but conducting combat operations is about integration, it's about coordination, it's about survivability, not just having a beautiful, impressive aircraft. Rafale may be an excellent aircraft, but without a skilled pilot to coordinate its actions, it's merely a piece of metal. It's also unclear if India had intel on the PL-15 missiles. If, for example, a decision had been made to assume that Pakistan only had the export version of the aircraft with a shorter flight range, then Indian aircraft could have lingered in vulnerable areas. That is, they thought that this missile simply wouldn't reach them, but it turned out that it definitely could. In addition, the rules of engagement could also have prevented Indian pilots from opening fire first, or they were only returning fire at Pakistani aircraft. And in such cases, the mistaken judgments of the Indians could have made Pakistani weapons appear more effective than they actually are. Experts also note that India's strikes successfully hit several targets in Pakistan, which suggests that Indian missiles overcame the Pakistani air defense system, which is equipped with Chinese surface-to-air missiles, including the long-range HQ-9B. And if Chinese-made radars and missile systems were unable to detect or intercept the Indian strikes, this will also negatively affect Beijing's reputation as an arms exporter. It's crucial to note that India and Pakistan are currently engaged in a war. This really is a platform where China can test its weapons and show the whole world how truly high quality they are. As cynical as it may sound, I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments under this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this channel financially, you can do so with any donation. You can do this using the links and payment details in the video description or by scanning the on-screen quick response code. Or become a sponsor of Alexei Pechey's channel by clicking the sponsor button below this video. I appreciate your support. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye everyone. Subtitles created by